Hey, are you tired of being bad on Smite? Want a way to improve instantly? Well, just blame all your issues on the jungler.
But she caught me on the counter.
Wasn't me.
Saw me banging on the sofa.
Wasn't me.
I even had her in the shower.
Wasn't me.
She even caught me on camera.
Wasn't me.
What the fuck?
Hey everyone, so today we're playing Arachne in the jungle. I absolutely adore Arachne. So we're starting off with her 3 ability, which she shoots webs and she leaves a trail behind her webs. In that trail she gets a movement speed buff, and these webs stay up until an enemy goes into them, and you can place a maximum of 3 webs. So I put down 2 webs on the white camp, and I'm going to use 1 on the speed camps. So what the webs do is when an enemy hits them, they turn into spiders. The spiders will chase the enemy and it will leave a trail. The trail will give you a movement speed buff and it will slow the enemies too. The spiders also do damage, so that's why it's great for early game clearing. So I use my 3rd web on the speed camp. Me and my teammate used our abilities to clear that quickly, and we're going to clear this white camp really quickly too, because I had 4 spiders, 2 from each web. Then we're just going to go over to the blue, clear that, and because of Arachne's webs, she has amazing clear and it helps you get to the mid lane really quickly for an early game gank. So we cleared the whole camp in less than a minute. So we're just going to go over to the Baron, and what I want to do is I want to go behind the Baron. So they placed a ward there, but I want to go up behind them and I want to get them to use their beads at least. He hasn't got any escapes, so he hasn't got any dashes. So I use my horrific and I use my 3 there. They never use their beads. They got Aegis there instead, which is really surprising because beads is like one of the best relics. So they got Aegis instead, and that was pretty much a free kill. The Susano went to the right lane. He triggered my ward. He went for that camp there. He didn't have his mid lane, so this was more or less a free kill. The only thing he can do to get away here is use his dash, but I don't even know if he has that at level 2. So he's pretty much a free kill. My Ula had a jump and a stun. I have my 3, and I went with tier 1 katana. So it was really hard for him to get away there. So for the build, I went for Eye of the Jungle, tier 1 katana. Then I'm going to get a 4 boots. Then after that, go for hasted katana. So the build is pretty simple. You just want to go for movement speed, attack speed, power, and late game you want to go for Bale Pen. So with this build, I'm going to go for Protector of the Jungle, and I'm going to go for Hardened Urchin, but that's literally late game, like that's at level 20. That's to make sure I don't fall off. I can do a lot of damage and survive. So I helped the mid laner clear his lane, and I also went for to help with red buff. And what you want to do in the mid lane is you want to focus on your speed camp, your red camp, and your team's blue camp. So you want to get the speed camp as often as it respawns, because that gives you XP, it makes you faster, and it helps you clear the other camps. So you want to get that as often as it respawns. For the first 2 or 3 times, you want to get the blue buff for your solo lane. The enemy Susano decided to jungle invade an Arachne as level 2, which is a terrible choice, and they paid for it by dying. And back to what I was saying, you want to get the blue buff the first 2 or 3 times for your solo lane, simply because they're gonna have a lot of trouble clearing it. They're going to lose a lot of health to the blue buff, and they're going to lose a lot of mana, and they want to save that health and mana for the actual solo lane so they can fight. So you want to get the blue buff for them the first 2 or 3 times. After the 3rd time, they should be able to get them themselves, no problem. But for the first 3 times, you want to get it for them. And same with the red buff, you want to get that for your mid laner as often as you can for the first 3 or 4 times. After the 3rd time, they should have enough items to be able to get it themselves. See, I got our blue there, but our Tiamat didn't pick her up. Decided to gank her lane, but I wasn't able to get a kill because the Nike's too tanky. I tried to go for their blue buff, but I wasn't able to. So I just backed there. I got my full boots. So with full boots and tier 1 katana, I have loads more movement speed. I'm gonna have more movement speed than any other guard, even by late game, because Arachne's base movement speed is a lot. Plus the katana gives me a bit extra. So I already have more movement speed now than most other guards will do late game. So her 3 is how you want to initiate fights. You want to go up behind them when they're not expecting you, or to their side, and hit them with your 3. Her 1 and her 2 amplifies her basic attacks, and that's one of the reasons why Arachne doesn't get that much respect. It's because 2 of her abilities is an amplification of her basic attacks. So I'll put them up on the screen. Her 1 boosts her next basic attack, so it does an initial damage plus damage over time. It also heals her over time. Her 2 boosts her basic attack speed, and it also stuns them if you're able to hit 3 basic attack within 3 seconds. So that's why Arachne is not respected that much, because 2 of her abilities literally are just amplified basic attacks, and her 3 is just to chase people. But because of that, she's actually a great guard to learn in the jungle, because you don't need to focus on her kits or her items too much. You can just focus on your rotations, your ganks, and clearing the camp. So Humbat, for example, is a bit more complicated. He's ability based, and one of his abilities, you have to throw like a doll, and that doll bounces between minions and enemy gods. Then you have to press the ability again to teleport. If you're new to the jungle, doing all that on top of rotations and ganks can be quite complicated. So the Nike rotated from the solo lane. Our solo laner did call enemy missing. I wasn't paying attention. I opened up the item menu and I was already looking for the next item to buy, and I got punished for that, for not paying attention, so I died. So with regards to Arachne's ult, her ult makes her CC immune, untargetable, and it also makes her a bit faster. So this move is great for running away, and it's also great for not being targeted and jumping on the enemy's backline. It also does other stuff like an AoE slow, but I won't really get into that. It's best used for an escape. So you've seen me throughout this game where the Baron ulted me the last team fight, or where I'm not in like a comfortable position, I would ult to get away. Sometimes I would stay in the air and wait to jump back in, but most of the time I use this as an escape. Times where you would use this to engage would be perhaps in a team fight, and you see like an opening to jump on the backliners. So you can ult to jump on the backliners if they haven't got their support near them. The supports at the other side of the enemy team structure. So if they're in like a line of 5 and the support's not near them, then perhaps there you can ult. And if they focus you, then your team can clean up because they're all too busy focused on you. But yeah, in most cases you want to use this as a escape. So right there, I ulted to get into a better position. I waited for the Cupid to dash, and I basically killed the Cupid. I horrific both of them, but the Cerberus managed to escape there. So Arachne is really strong early game and late game, simply because she doesn't rely on her ult to get kills. So her ult's mainly used to escape, and her 1, 2 and 3 combination do a lot of damage, like all her damage, more or less. And late game, she can build items like Death's Embrace or Protector of the Jungle, which are extremely good on her, simply because she's basic attack based. Late game in general is a bit weird for assassins, because everyone has their end game builds. The supports usually build Sentinel's barrier, or whatever it's called, the one that gives their allies protections, along with gauntlets. So everyone becomes really hard to kill if they're all grouped together, which they tend to be if they're a good team late game. So Arachne becomes a lot less influential late game, but then again, so do most assassins. And in terms of counters, throughout the whole game, most assassins can easily kill you if they catch you off guard. But at the same time, you can also easily kill most assassins. So people like Pele, she has a move where she can get like a ring of volcano around her, or a ring of lava around her that does AoE damage, and that can kill your spiders really easily. Guys like Thor, they can ult you and get you stunned out of nowhere. You can't even like predict it, so they can stun you out of nowhere and burst you down, and burst you before you can even ult away. So, but at the same time, if you catch them in their jungle, you can burst them before they can even ult away. So I wouldn't necessarily say she has counters. It's just depends on how good the enemy is. I mentioned mentality in my previous videos. So the mentality of playing duel and in the solo lane. I'll just talk about the mentality of a jungler. So that little clip you saw at the beginning of the video where everyone's blaming the jungler for everything, even though something might be their fault. Well, quite early on, if you're at the lower ranks of smite, you tend to get blamed a lot for a lot of things. So for example, the solo laner, if they're getting battered on the solo lane, they want you to start helping them when you really shouldn't. The mid laner, if the mid laner gets ganked and they didn't ward properly, they'll blame you for not following up on that gank or not ganking more often. Sometimes you shouldn't gank so often, you should be focused on farming. So your mentality needs to be tough in the jungle because you need to have your own game plan and you need to believe in what you're doing and not necessarily listen to criticism so much, and just focus on your own game plan, because you will get blamed for a lot of things in the jungle. It's really easy to blame the jungler. So if the enemy jungler ganks the dual lane and they both die, well, they shouldn't die so easily sometimes, and they'll blame you for dying so easily. So yeah, your mentality needs to be really tough. That's why I hate playing jungle, because you're always on the move, you're always focused on, oh, where can I get the next kill? And yeah, your mentality just needs to be tough. Just keep playing jungle. If it gets too much, press start, go on scoreboard, press square on them, or just mute them. However you press mute, just mute them. Just keep playing, you'll learn on your own, you'll learn what's best for you. If people want to die because, you know, for whatever reason they want to blame you, then they can do. Just trust your own game plan. Gank when you feel like you can get a kill, not necessarily to help your teammates. And if you feel like you can save a teammate whilst not putting yourself in danger, then do that as well. You know, just use your own judgment and don't let people, you know, bully you into playing their way. The enemy team decided to surrender, so that's going to be the end of that match. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like so more people can see it. And if you want to see more content like this, press subscribe to not miss my videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care, bye.